And when I finally made my way home on that second night, I discovered a clear and pleasant change inside myself. For months, the droning sound of the machines from the workshop had bothered me so much that falling asleep was always a struggle. But that day, I was snoring peacefully away the moment my head hit the pillow. Exhaustion from running around all day definitely had something to do with it, but more than anything else, I think it was because I suddenly felt so happy. In the park where I might never again play with my family, I stumbled across a nice boy my age, well, pretty much. He was a sweet kid who said thank you at the drop of a hat, so things would definitely go well. We'd be best friends in no time. For some reason, I felt absolutely certain of that. As it turned out, my hunch was on the money. After those first few meetings, Yukon and I started playing together in the park pretty much every day. At first, we headed home quietly when the sun began to set, but after a while, we naturally started to say, "See you tomorrow." And when one of us couldn't make it for whatever reason, we'd let the other know in advance. So everything's good! Yay! Right? Sachan, what are you doing over there?
何ってゴミを拾ってるんだよ。
Yeah, but why?
だって次にこの場所で遊んだ時、綺麗だった方が嬉しいでしょ。
Wow, you're so thoughtful, Sachan. I mean, lots of people might think the same thing, but that doesn't mean they'd clean up the mess themselves. And you did it without even thinking about it. You're kind of amazing. Did I say something weird again?
久しぶりに褒められたからちょっとびっくりして。
And she enjoyed our praise back in the present. It all makes sense. It connects. You haven't?
昔はね、私が頑張ったらお父さんとお母さんが褒めてくれてたんだけど、今は仕事が忙しいみたいだから。
Okay. In that case, I guess I'll have to take over that job for now. It doesn't seem hard to find stuff to praise about you. I think even I can handle this one. That okay with you?
それはいいけど。
Okay, in that case, good job, Sachan. With those words, Yukon brought his hand to rest on top of my head. There you go. It was far smaller than Mom's hand, let alone Dad's, and yet, in that moment, his hand felt gentler and warmer than any other I'd known.
ありがとう、ゆうくん。
Yukon didn't just play with me. He gave me the attention I'd been craving. When I did well or tried hard, he'd compliment me right away. When I messed up or tried something risky, he'd give me a few gentle words of concern. Apparently that also had something to do with his big sister's teachings. But whatever the case, Yukon's thoughtful warnings made me almost as happy as his praise. Lately, I'd started to wonder why I was trying so hard, when no one even cared even to look, or enough to look. But now, Yukon was watching me. I had a new reason to do my best. Another day.
それじゃあ見ててね。行くよ。
Yeah, be careful, okay?
どう私ちゃんとできてたかな。
No idea what's going on. Yeah, you spun all the way around perfectly.
ありがとう。
That's really amazing. Not that I'm much good at the horizontal bar or anything, but I've never done a forward flip even once.
そんなにすごくはないと思うけど、今日初めて成功したから最初はゆうくんに見てほしかったんだ。
Oh, really? Thanks, Sachan.
ちゅ
Huh?
これはいつも私と遊んでくれているお礼だよ。
You're hitting me? Yeah, thanks. Or was it a kiss? Ooh. When I tried hard at something, Yukon would always praise me. Sometimes, overflowing with happiness, I'd give him a kiss on the cheek. Okay. And more than once, I drove myself so hard in pursuit of some new achievement that I ended up passing out on the playground. That was how much Yukon's words meant to me. He had stepped into the gap left by my parents' absence, giving me the attention and affection they no longer would. as I grew more and more conscious of what he meant to me. My daily life was quickly transformed. I spent less and less time inside the house. When I got home from school, I'd head straight off to the playground. More than anything else, I looked forward to the time I could spend playing with Yukun. At home, the constant grinding of the machines and the perpetual silence of our music box were still painful, but I found I could endure them now. Not to say that I didn't interact with my parents at all.
サチは最近よく公園で遊んでるみたいね。
うん。ゆうくんってことお友達になれたから。
そう、よかったわね。
うん。お母さんもお仕事頑張ってね。
Yeah, Mom, you don't have to feel guilty when you work now. When coincidence brought us together, we were able to hold slightly awkward but reasonably friendly conversations. Even so, I had stopped actively trying to regain their attention. In contrast to the steadily shrinking place my parents held in my heart, Yukun's presence grew larger and larger by the day. I wish it'd hurry up and be tomorrow, so I can play with Yukun again. I feel like something's gonna go wrong. It didn't take long for those feelings to blossom into a faint but unmistakable love. Something's gonna happen, man, and it's gonna hurt.
ゆうくんは好きな人とか。
Yeah, his sister, remember? Like I said, I guess my sister?
そういう好きじゃなくて結婚したい人とか。
Mary? I haven't even thought about that stuff yet. Sachan, are you thinking about it already?
私
Well, you brought it up, so I thought you were probably interested.
そっか。そうだよね。
Yeah, so, do you have someone you want to marry?
うん。
Ooh. No kidding. Okay, then
でもね、私と結婚するには条件があるの。
Okay, kid. Qualified?
そう。靴飛ばしで私より靴が飛ばせる人。
Shoe kicking.
うん。こうやってブランコに座ったままでどこまで靴を遠くに飛ばせるかっていう勝負なんだけど。
Oh, like kick it off your feet. Ah, I get it.
だからね、ちょっとだけゆうくんもやってみない？
Huh? Me?
ゆうくんが私より靴を飛ばせるかちょっとだけ試してみるの。
Sounds kind of fun. I guess, sure, I'll play.
じゃあまずは私からね。
Man, I miss my childhood. You know, reading this dialogue and everything, and it seems, you know, it could seem a little weird to, like, just anyone that just comes in and stuff, but, like, you gotta keep in mind, you know, as kids, we were so adventurous, or at least I was, and I would love to go out and play. Like, I would say around their age, I kept it going. Confident, huh? Well, it does seem like something you'd be good at, Sachan. Whoa, that went pretty far.
じゃあ次はゆうくんの番だよ。
Yeah, I'm not that confident, but... Yeah. Guess I can't beat you after all, Sachan. I purposely went a little easy on my kick, but I still ended up beating Yukun. Every once in a while, being naturally athletic can be a curse instead of a blessing. I spent that night curled up in my bed, bitterly regretting coming up with that stupid qualification in the first place. There must have been a better way to hide my embarrassment than that. And so, time slipped steadily by, my feelings unspoken. But as my next birthday grew near, my relationship with Yukun started to change in a different way. Oh, I feel like the bad is coming up, man.
それでね、その時はお父さんがお母さんのことを怒らせちゃって。
God damn it, Dad.
で、ゆうくん？
Oh, sorry. I was kind of spacing out.
も もゆうくんが私の家のこと聞きたいって言うから一生懸命お話ししたのに。
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yukon had always listened intently to my stories. This was the first time I could remember his attention wandering in the middle of a conversation. But my unease was relieved quickly enough. He apologized and listened to the rest of my story. I figured he just might have had something on his mind that day. And yet... Sachan, do you think there's a god? It's a weird thing to bring up. You know, one who knows everything and can do anything. If there's a god that strong watching over us, even if things look really bad, it'll turn out okay in the end, right?
そうだね。私は神様を見たことがないから絶対にいるとは言えないけど、でも神頼みって言葉もあるくらいだし、神様はとっても強いんじゃないかな。
Yeah, that's gotta be right. God's gotta be really powerful.
多分。
That's what I thought too. Thanks, Sachan. Sometimes he'd suddenly talk about God or other weird stuff. More often he'd sit rocking on a swing, staring off into the distance with a blank look on his face. It was the old familiar expression from the first time I met him, the expression he'd stopped making after we became friends. I had a vague idea that something must have happened at Yukon's home. But I was still just a kid, powerless to offer any real help. When Yukon asked me those questions, clearly searching for reassurance, all I could do was listen, nod, and try to hide my concern. At the same time, the blizzard of work that had buried my parents for so long was finally starting to slow down a bit. The machines weren't clattering quite as late into the night as they used to. Once or twice, I went home early to find my parents making small talk with strangers in suits. Like most kids, I did get pretty curious about what the adults were talking about, but when I eavesdropped, all I got was a whole bunch of words I didn't really understand flying back and forth. I got the idea they were talking about the machines in the workshop, but the specifics were right over my head. Or went right over my head. They're probably buying replacements for the old machines while it's not so busy. But only a few days after I reached that conclusion, our housekeeper told me she'd be leaving the job. Apparently, Mom told her she'd be able to handle the chores by herself again. It was nice that my parents were getting less busy, and that my mom would be looking after the house again. But at the same time, my mind was so full of anxious thoughts of Yukon that I couldn't manage to feel happy about anything else. Lately, he'd been showing up at the playground a lot less frequently.